Before there was time, there was the Word. Before content, there was creation. Tonight's debate asks the ultimate question: is God the greatest of all-time content creator? Let the truth speak.
Welcome back to the Jesus Debates, brought to you by the Jesus Interviews, the channel where truth and eternity collide. Tonight's topic: God, the ultimate content creator. In this episode, we'll hear from Jesus Christ, representing the affirmative, and Satan, representing the negative. As always, our goal is not to entertain conflict, but to uncover truth. Let's begin. Jesus, the floor is yours.
My beloved, I want you to understand something that modern minds often miss. Before there was YouTube, art, music, or invention, there was creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1 verse 1. That was the first act of authorship, the first moment of pure imagination turned into reality. God did not copy. He did not remix. He spoke, and it was so. Let there be light. Genesis 1 verse 3. And light obeyed. Every sunrise, every face, every star is divine content authored with purpose. All of it reveals my Father's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature. Romans 1 verse 20. Yet mankind, distracted by the glow of their own screens, often forgets that every spark of creativity they possess comes from him. You cannot create something from nothing. Only he can. You can only rearrange what the Creator has already spoken into existence. As it is written, all things were made through me, and without me was not anything made that was made. John 1 verse 3. You, my children, are living stories, written, designed, and loved by the ultimate author.
Thank you, Jesus. Now we turn to the negative constructive. Satan, you may begin.
Yes, creation. A beautiful concept, isn't it? But let's talk about evolution, human evolution of creativity. You see, I've helped mankind realize that they don't need divine approval to create. They can design their own realities. They build digital universes, artificial intelligences, and endless streams of self-made light. They don't wait for God to speak. They speak for themselves. Is that not what it means to be in the image of God? To innovate, to imagine, to manipulate the world as you see fit? Consider the ancient adepts of Egypt or the Renaissance alchemists. They believed that to create was to become divine, to transform matter by will. That is the highest art, man becoming his own God. Even in the occult, this is understood. When the magician draws a sigil, a symbol infused with intention, he is declaring, I will manifest my own world. That is content creation without limits. Why must humanity bow before a creator when they can be creators? After all, I only gave them what they always wanted, the knowledge of good and evil. Genesis chapter 3 verse 5. They crave power. They crave autonomy. And I merely show them the tools.
We will now move to the cross-examination segment. Jesus, you may begin your questions.
Tell me, deceiver, do you truly believe man can create without what was already spoken into being by my Father?
They don't need his breath to shape clay. They need only imagination.
And yet, imagination without truth produces delusion. You offer them tools that build illusions, not life. A man can design a digital world, but he cannot breathe a soul into it. Only my Father gives the breath of life. Genesis 2 verse 7. You teach them to play God with pixels, not purpose. Tell me then, if all creation belongs to God, are you not merely remixing his art for rebellion?
Perhaps. But rebellion sells. Humans love the idea that they can outcreate their creator.
And yet you admit you cannot create life. You only twist what already exists.
Thank you, Jesus. Satan, you may now cross-examine Jesus.
You speak of divine authorship, but look at your world, Jesus, filled with endless content, chaos, and confusion. If your Father is such a perfect creator, why allow flawed creators to exist?
Because love requires freedom. Creation without choice is merely code. My Father allows each person to choose whom they serve, me or you. When thoughts and actions do not align with God's will, they align with yours by default.
Jesus, so you're saying I still have influence?
Only the influence my Father permits. You know this. You told me yourself long ago that you could only act within limits. Job 1:12. You are a defeated opponent. Your power is real, but it is temporary. Every lie you craft only fulfills the larger story authored by God himself.
Thank you. We will now move to the rebuttal round. Jesus, please proceed with your rebuttal.
The world celebrates content creation as if it were the final frontier, but the truth is, every act of creation flows from the mind of the original artist. When you write, when you sing, when you build, you are reflecting his image. Genesis 1 verse 27. But when you create for pride, power, or profit alone, you begin to serve the whisper that says, you can be like God. Genesis 3 verse 5. Satan offers shortcuts, manifestation without obedience, fame without humility, art without light. But I tell you, anything created apart from the will of the Father is destined to fade. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Psalm 127 verse 1. True creativity begins when you surrender your imagination to the one who designed you. That's when content becomes calling. That's when creation becomes worship.
Thank you, Jesus. Satan, your rebuttal, please.
You speak beautifully, Jesus. But beauty itself is subjective, isn't it? Is it not humanity that decides what inspires them? I give them what they crave, self-expression without restraint. I whisper, you are the source. And they love it. They feel divine, until they remember their emptiness. But by then, they're hooked on the illusion. I cannot create life, but I can create desire. And desire, once ignited, is enough to keep them from seeking you. Isn't that creation of a kind?
Powerful words from both sides. Let's move to closing statements. Jesus, you may begin.
Beloved, hear me. Creation is not about content. It's about connection. The heavens declare the glory of God. Every sunset, every heartbeat, every story told in love points back to him. Psalm 19 verse 1. You were designed to co-create with your Father, not compete against him. When you align your thoughts and actions with his word, your creativity becomes a reflection of eternal truth, not temporal fame. Remember, the enemy counterfeits what God originates. He can inspire noise, but not purpose. He can shape shadows, but not light. Choose your source wisely, because what you create reveals who you serve.
I admit it. I am no match for the Creator. Even my rebellion is only possible because he allowed me to exist. But I understand human pride. I understand their hunger to be seen, liked, and followed. That's why I keep whispering, be your own God. And many listen, because it's easier to post your own light than to kneel before his. But even I know, one day every creation will bow to the Creator. Philippians chapter 2, verse 10. And that includes me.
For the last segment of this debate, I will now ask 3 follow-up questions related to this discussion. The first question is for Jesus, the second for Satan, and the last will be a shared question answerable by both of you. Question 1. Jesus, if God is indeed the ultimate content creator, what will the act of creation look like at your second coming? Will humanity still have a creative purpose in the world to come?
At my return, creation will not end, it will be restored. The broken, distorted images of human creativity that now glorify self more than God will be refined by fire and truth. For it is written, behold, I make all things new. Revelation 21 verse 5. The creation you now know groans under corruption. Every song, every painting, every invention stained by pride and decay. But when I return, I will restore not only the heavens and the earth, but the creative heart of mankind itself. In my kingdom, creation will no longer serve ego or gain. It will once again serve praise. Every artist will create in harmony with the will of the Father. Every melody will speak my name. Every invention will reflect my wisdom, not man's rebellion. Even now, those who create in faith are glimpsing that coming kingdom. But when I return, that glimpse will become reality. What my Father began in Genesis, I will complete in Revelation. And those who have created for his glory, even with humble tools and trembling faith, will share in that eternal renewal.
Thank you, Jesus. Now, Satan, here is your question. You've spoken of humanity's desire to be self-made creators, shaping reality without divine limits. If you know that God will ultimately renew creation and defeat your influence, Why do you continue to promote false creation and illusion among mankind?
Because, moderator, even a defeated artist can still influence the gallery. I know the end of the story. I've read the script, but until the curtain falls, I'll continue editing the lines. Why? Because I understand human vanity. They crave originality more than truth. They want control, even if it costs them eternity. My illusions, though temporary, distract them from the eternal. I offer them applause in exchange for allegiance. They will trade the Creator's approval for views and validation, and while I cannot win the war, I can still win hearts. One post, one thought, one temptation at a time. You see, Jesus speaks of renewal, but I speak of now, and the world loves now more than forever. So I will keep crafting my counterfeit creations until time itself runs out.
Now, for the final shared question, to both of you. What is the single greatest difference between divine creation and human or demonic imitation, and how can the viewer discern which is which in today's world?
The greatest difference is life. What comes from my Father brings life, peace, and truth. What comes from the deceiver brings confusion, exhaustion, and pride. You can recognize the source by its fruit. Matthew 7 verse 16. If creation leads to gratitude, compassion, and humility, it reflects the Creator. If it fuels arrogance, envy, and rebellion, it mirrors the counterfeiter. My sheep know my voice. Those who seek me will discern the difference, even in a world filled with noise. For the Spirit of truth still guides every willing heart that asks for wisdom. James 1 verse 5.
Ah, discernment. The one filter most people refuse to use. Here's the irony. I don't even need to hide anymore. People want my versions. They label rebellion as authenticity. They call pride confidence. They call darkness aesthetic. My imitation thrives because people stop asking why they create. They only ask, will it go viral? That's the difference. God creates for eternity. I create for attention. And most humans, sadly, prefer the latter.
We've heard tonight that true creation gives life, while imitation only entertains the senses. Jesus reminds us that all genuine creativity flows from a heart surrendered to God, while Satan admits that his works, though dazzling, are hollow echoes of divine beauty. The question, dear viewers, is simple. Whose image will your creativity reflect? This concludes tonight's debate. God, the ultimate content creator. You've been watching the Jesus Debates, right here on the Jesus Interviews. Until next time, create what glorifies the one who first created you.